Attorney General Martha Coakley is coming under fire over parking spots she's used on the campaign trail. This video posted on YouTube by Mass GOP shows a state police car used by the Attorney General in two separate tow zones designated for the fire department. Coakley's in the race for the governor's seat. She does travel with a state police detail because of her position as Attorney General. Her campaign says it's nothing out of the ordinary. They say, quote, like prior attorneys general, Attorney General Coakley, she has state police protection, and decisions relative to that protection are made by the state police. State police have also told us, quote, it was official business and entirely appropriate. They say troopers were granted permission to park in those zones and that the car must be parked as close to the destination as possible for safety reasons. And now we bring in Boston University political historian and author Tom Whalen. Tom, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
First thing I want to say is we did try to speak with Martha Coakley today. We were told her spokesperson told us she would be unavailable. What is your impression of this?
It just looks bad. As the Commonwealth's chief law enforcement officer, she should exercise, I would think, better judgment.
You know, she's the state's top cop. That's right. And that's how people see her. And state police say they don't see anything wrong with this. Should the average person, or does it matter?
I think it does to the average person because, you know, you expect this kind of behavior for, say, someone like a Billy Bulger of the past. But, you know, Martha Coakley, at least now, has created this image that, you know, she is a firm believer in that, you know, no one should get special privileges, that, you know, as governor, she would make it a point to clean out all the bad guys on Beacon Hill and kind of restore sanity and order. Now she seems like, well, the same old stuff. And you that's troubling politically.
And that's my next question, because she said she wouldn't be running the same kind of campaign we saw 4 years ago against Scott Brown. But is this the same campaign?
It certainly seems that way, and she seems utterly tone deaf. I mean, given that and her other problems, you know, with her campaign expense accounts, she really is having a bad few weeks.
Right. Let's put this in perspective for people. You know, in the last few weeks, we've learned that Coakley hadn't reimbursed the state for travel expenses related to her campaign against Scott Brown. That was 4 years ago, and that was $11,000. The campaign says they're paying it back. But that just doesn't look good, Tom.
Right. Her campaign is based on competence, and she sure has not been acting in a competent manner over the last few weeks. And I think that's going to put doubts in voters' minds whether she will be the right choice to run the state.
She incorrectly guessed the gas tax just a week ago or so. She thought it was 10 cents, which her potential Republican opponent, Charlie Baker, capitalized on, said the last time that was happening, it was in the early 80s. Now, the gas tax is going to be a key campaign issue this fall, given that it's very possible there will be a ballot effort that it will make it onto the ballot to repeal this. So does it show, I guess my question is, over the last few weeks to hear about all of these things, does it show she might be a little bit out of touch, or is she giving off that impression, even if she's not?
I think she is out of touch, and you haven't even mentioned the whole casino vote that potentially might be on the ballot, and she's gone on record saying that she supports casinos in Massachusetts. That might be a major issue. Charlie Baker's been very coy on that. If he goes out against casinos, then you have a clear distinction between the candidates, and that could make a difference.
And the casino, you know, put that in perspective for people. We are expected to hear in July whether or not that will make it onto the ballot as well, and she has been a staunch supporter, even as polls are starting to tilt the other way now.
Right, and it's going to probably by July it'll be significantly more than half of the voters in Massachusetts will be against casinos. And that might be, you know, bad news for Martha's gubernatorial bid.
You know, the big criticism against Martha Coakley 4 years ago during her race against Scott Brown was that she seemed to be this insider, that she was running like a front runner, that she thought she had the race in the bag, and she famously wouldn't shake hands at Fenway Park. And so I just can't help but wonder, when you think about perhaps not just one of these issues, but taken together, is this the same thing? Is this the same sort of thing are we seeing history repeat itself?
I think so, because she hasn't changed the narrative. She's tried to rhetorically, but when people see actions like this, they're going to shake their heads and saying, same old Martha.
That's right. When she rolled out her campaign last fall, she said this was going to be different. She would be different.
And